Good morning and welcome to the Legit Real Estate Podcast. I am TJ Chofi here as always with Holly Regoli. Holly, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm awesome. You look lovely as always, although I'm only looking at you from like your bottom lip up. So like,
Stand
I
taller.
can't see your whole, there we go.
You see me
And
now?
you're like taller than I am. So it would make sense that we can see your whole face. How you doing this morning?
I am good. I have a new I got my computer finally up into my office that I moved my office stuff to. And so I'm trying to figure out the new setup because I have a standing desk. I don't have a sitting down desk. So we're playing
Oh,
with
you're
that.
one of those? Are you one of
Yeah,
those? You're
well,
gonna tell us
I've got
how much better you are as a person because you stand at work instead of sit?
no. I've got stuff here that I intend to use. I have a stair stepper thing, and then I have a vibration plate, and and then I've got a little stool. So I was sitting on the stool this morning, but we couldn't see me with the camera, so I got to stand during
I'm
this.
just gonna sit
Oh,
on my ass like I always do. And we have a guest today, so I'm excited when we have a guest because frankly, it just makes us more interesting when we have someone to talk to. So you're going to introduce the guest, and then I guess the first thing we'll ask him is whether he's sitting on his ass or whether he's doing like a stairmaster while he does the podcast.
so absolutely, we've got Josh here from Inspections by JML, and I'm gonna let Josh pronounce his last name because I screwed it up.
Good morning, you two. How are you? We already went through that.
How hard can your last name be? How hard can it be? My last name is Chofi.
Chopi. It doesn't look like Chopi.
It doesn't.
It's Josh LeBeau. That's simple
LeBeau.
as that. And
Come on.
Home Inspections by JML.
You want to tell everybody what the JML stands for?
Joshua and Michelle LeBeau, my lovely wife, whom this business would not be as successful as it is because of her.
Absolutely.
And then we pan out the camera and she's holding a gun to his head, like right to his right. you will tell me it's successful because of me, damn it. Josh, how's your business? Are you busy right now?
My business has been good this year.
Good.
Much better than last year. Last year stunk, but this year is a lot better.
I love hearing that.
What I'm finding is I'm doing more in Massachusetts recently.
Really?
Yeah, I guess that confusing law that they put out.
Oh, yeah.
That
you want to tell everybody about that law?
No one really understands that law. Even the legislator who wrote it doesn't understand it on an interview I saw. Apparently, you as a seller can't accept an offer if the buyer wants to waive the inspection. And I might be totally wrong on that. So it's almost like a mandatory inspection clause, but...
So it's basically, the way I understand it is that you cannot accept an offer based on whether or not somebody is waiving the inspections.
So I think on the other side, you can't write an offer waiving inspections. Like it can't be part of the negotiation, which kind of sticks it to investors because generally, if I buy a house to flip, I waive the inspection because I just want the house. I'll do my inspection before I list it. Or I'll do my inspection after I buy it. I'm not going to do my inspection in the offer process because then I'm competing with all the regular consumers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that was one of the impotence of having that put in play because of the investors were just swooping in, overbidding, getting the properties, and like TJ said, leaving out the regular consumer who wants that property.
Or I think the bigger problem we were seeing was so many people were waiving inspections, and then there were lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit of stuff that was coming up after the fact because of all these things people found after, and they're like, well, we didn't do inspections. Well, you didn't do inspections. What do you expect? Yeah.
So we have the, hold on, I know you're gonna ask a question. I want to make a point though. When we have the sales disclosures and the seller is supposed to identify the things that they know to be wrong, we know sellers are lying or just saying they don't know. Because how do you prove someone knows something, right? You just say, I don't know. You waive inspections, you buy the house and you find out the first time it rains, you got a foot of water in the basement. Yeah, and then whereas an investor might be like chalk one up to the bad guys, regular consumers taking you to court for that.
Yeah. But you know what? I just went out. I'm in my first Mass deal. I'm licensed Rhode Island, Mass, and Connecticut, but I do primarily Connecticut and Rhode Island. I am under contract in one in Massachusetts, and I was asking for the disclosures. They're like, they're not required.
No.
How do you not require disclosures on a property? But I guess they're not required in Massachusetts. How is that? How is that possible?
It's a different process. There's no purchase and sales until after the inspection. I don't know. I hear things I have hear things between the realtors when they talk, so don't take anything I say as gospel.
Yeah. It's a whole new world. I was like, how, like, I just don't feel right not having the disclosures so that you can kind of look at them up front. I think that gives the sellers a way out, but I guess maybe that's, so now they've implemented that new addendum that we have to sign. Hopefully at some point they'll implement having disclosures, because I think that they're very helpful on the properties.
Yeah, I like to receive
But
them from I asked the realtors, the buyer realtors, to send me the disclosures. That way I can know what I'm up against. Like as far as the yes, no's, unknown, not applicable things. Has this house ever been tested for radon? And they say no, and then I go there and there's a mitigation system. So I guess it was tested. It's a 200 amp serve. No, it's a 240 amp service, which doesn't exist. And you mean, oh, it's 240 volts. Oh, okay.
yeah.
Well, you know that most people don't know what they have in their house. Like most people just don't even understand how it works, which is why home inspections are key. We like to talk about things that are out of the mainstream. So let me ask you this. What's the weirdest thing you found in an attic during a home inspection?
In an attic. I saw a hornet's nest about the size of one of those, you know, those balls you sit on when you in your office, the huge balls. It was about that size, stuck in the corner.
No way.
It was huge.
Was it like
was it active?
It was in the corner of the attic, and I went into the bedroom underneath that corner, and I put my thermal imaging underneath it. It was warm, meaning that there was activity in this nest.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was scary.
That's crazy.
It's like
you doing your Halloween?
I was like, I realized I have too much backlighting, so I'm like,
whoa.
I figured I'd give myself some face light, and it makes me glow.
I've seen bats in attics.
Oh, really?
Bats are tiny. They're really tiny.
Yeah, wicked small. I found one in my bathtub one time. I thought it was a frog. It was in the corner of the shower, and I thought it was a frog. So I went into the garage and I got a stick. Like I took the top off a broom and I had a stick. It's like, I'm gonna poke this frog. And when I poked him, he spread his wings. You have never heard a grown man shriek the way I shrieked. I ran out of the house so damn fast. Yeah, bats, but they're little bitty things. You think that they're like Batman logos, and they're absolutely not. So what do you do when you find something like that? Like when you find a big hornet's nest like that, you're the home inspector, right? You obviously don't treat it, but you're not going to like go up there and you're not going to finish inspecting the attic, right? Because you're not going to put yourself at risk. So how do you guys handle something like that?
I do what I can. And if it's, I see activity in the attic, like the hornets flying around, I'll leave. It's not worth it.
For sure.
I'll leave. I'll close the hatch, and I'll tell the seller realtor saying that you got an active hornet's nest up in the attic. You got to get that treated now, so to speak. And of course, I let the buying agent and the buyer know as well. And they're usually pretty good about it. Oh yeah, we'll get that treated right away.
Like that. You know what it does now? If there's any issues in the attic now, if you got some mold hiding in the back of the attic, or you don't have proper ventilation, I mean, you didn't have time to really do your complete inspection.
No, and sometimes I'll offer to come back out. Just once it's treated, I'll come back out and say, "Hey, let me come back in and check out the attic." But I remember I think it was my third inspection. I lift up the hatch. And right there is a dead bird.
Oh.
And I'm saying to myself, what am I getting myself into? Dead birds in attics. You see a lot of dead mice. Um, uh, I saw in one old 3-family house, there was about a 2 foot high, tall nest. Apparently above on the roof, excuse me, was one of those passive vents. Well, the birds were getting in and dropping their straw and their sticks in through that to make a nest, but it ended up being 2 foot tall with nothing in it.
Jeez. That's crazy.
And
And
I've
Josh
seen a
goes up
lot
in
of
some tight places. So
Oh
I'll
yeah,
look in place and I'm like, I can't believe he's going in there.
like
Well,
Connecticut
in
one.
some of the older houses here, there's like, I remember one inspection specifically where the attic access was like the stairs were going down and the attic access was above the stairs. It had to be a 20-foot drop. And like the guy,
Mm.
the home inspector somehow angled his ladder up there and climbed that son of a gun to push the latch. And I'm like, this man is risking his life for this damn inspection. Like, charge double. Like, you guys are nuts sometimes.
Like Josh was saying, the one in Connecticut, we had it was what, 2 stories or 3 stories. That was like the third floor. And then we
Third
had this
floor.
tiny little porch. It might have been 2 to 3 feet wide, and the attic access was through a hatch off the porch. So we're standing there, and you can only have the ladder straight up because there's no room. And I'm holding the ladder while Josh is going up trying to look in the attic. It was, and then you've just got this open porch. If you fall, you're going 3 floors down.
Yeah, going through yeah, that would have been a nice drop.
And
Mhm.
something tells me on a third floor constructed like that, that porch may or may not have been up to code. Like that something tells me that porch was not like reinforced the way that you would want it to be.
Yeah,
Never
maybe
thought
not.
about that.
Yeah. Probably should have checked the structural part of that first, right?
You know,
I saw a
you guys do such a crucial job in the transaction. It's it's crazy some of the stuff I've seen inspectors do, whether it's crawl spaces, some of these crawl spaces that you guys will wind yourself into. It's like, you got to be nuts. Like, at some point, even as a homeowner, there's spots in my house where I just have never been, and like I'm just not going. There's a crawl space right next to me behind the boiler. There could be a body back there. I'm not going there. And when I had the home inspection, the guy wouldn't go there either. He was like, "Yeah." It's like, "No."
Can I tell my
Like,
gun
you're on your
story?
own. Yeah, I guess.
Gun story.
My gun story. I was doing a single family in Providence, and it had a pull down stairs, which I love for attic access. So I go up the stairs and I look to my left, and there's a 2 foot machete sitting on top of the insulation. And I said, "Oh, that's interesting." Then I turned to my right, and I'm not a gun person, but it looked to be like a 45 caliber pistol. And I'm like, said down the attic stairs, I said, "You might want to come up here." I was talking to the selling agent. So she comes up there and I said, "There's a gun on the insulation." And she goes to pick it up. I said, "Don't do that. You don't want your fingerprints on that." So she calls the police. And within 3 minutes, a patrol car with 2 officers and a detective came. I said, "Well, this is a little overkill, a detective." Well, they go up the stairs and they come down with the gun. It was one of those airsoft guns, but it didn't have a little orange tip on it. And the cop said, "This looks real. I've never seen one look this real before." And the detective was all disappointed. Well, come to find out, 2 nights before, 3 houses down the street, someone was murdered. And they never found the gun. So they was thinking that gun was hidden in this guy's attic.
Oh,
And he thought he cracked the case right there, and he got a toy gun.
So let me ask this: why would the seller's agent call the police instead of the seller? Was this a vacant house?
No, the seller agent called the house. Yes, it was a vacant house.
Okay, because
Yes.
I was like, hey, I at one point, like, I lived in a house in Cranston, my very first house. My apartment was like 700 square feet. I didn't have room, but I had probably like 7 or 8 guns at the time. So I had them all lined up in the attic because that was, out of the way. And I had a baby and I didn't have a gun safe because I didn't have a house big enough for it. So I was like, I mean, but if I'm having an inspection, I'm gonna do something with them, or at least tell the inspector, like, hey, don't mind the gun.
But you didn't. Oh, you didn't know. So Holly's like a hillbilly. She lives in the woods. She has an arsenal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's
that's
like
me.
one of those. Yeah. Don't don't let her
I
fool
have a
you.
gun safe now. This weekend I came home and I came upstairs to my room. I've got this nice, pretty, just plain white cushy comforter, and there's just a gun laying on it. And I asked my husband, I'm like, why is there a gun just like laying on the bed? He's like, oh, because CJ found it in the basement. I guess at one point, like he'd go outside trying to chase down the rats with the 22, and so we had forgotten to put it back in the gun safe, and it was just in the basement in like the closet or something, and now my son's down there.
You might want to edit this portion out.
We're respond No, my kids are teenagers now. They've both been in rifle like clubs, so they know and understand gun safety. So
You want to
it
edit
was
the part
safe.
out because it really did. If I didn't know better, it sounded like your little kindergartner stumbled across a handgun on the couch. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 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 no.
that's
I
how
have a 16-year-old and a 12-year-old. They've both been in rifle clubs. They know gun safety. They've shot. They're good.
They weren't bringing that for
Gosh,
show and tell. That's good.
yeah, but how do
Actually,
you
in
feel
Foster.
about? I'm sorry. I get to put this back on the tracks before we all end up indicted. Josh, how do you feel about when the seller is home during the home inspection? Does that bother you at all?
Yes, it does. Because some of them constantly hover. And I've asked, can you go into another room? And it's also awkward for the buyer because they can't really talk and talk freely, or they talk very guarded about the house. And of course, the homeowner thinks their house is perfect. And I'm
They're all
over there
perfect.
telling them, this window slams down, or you got a leaky sink. And if the house is disgusting, you can't really say, lady, your house is disgusting. You got
Right.
fur all over the kitchen sink. That's gross.
That's stressful.
One of the biggest arguments I ever saw between an inspector and a homeowner, the guy had all the asbestos tiles in the basement, and he had asbestos wrapped pipes, and they were, and the inspector's talking to the buyer in the basement, talking about the dangers of asbestos and why you want to have it removed and why you kind of can't do it yourself. You want to bring in a company. And here comes the homeowner talking about, I raised 6 kids in this house and none of us have cancer and I'm 85 years old and this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. And this, and to watch the confrontation, I felt bad for the inspector because he's just doing his job. I mean, it's asbestos, it's all over the fucking place. And homeowners can make it really awkward for you guys, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it is. I did one in Lincoln, and it was 10 o'clock in the morning, and the homeowner was there, and the buyer came down. He came over to me and he said, the homeowner, he went in the refrigerator and he got some clear liquid and he put a little bit of Coca-Cola in it. Now he's sitting in the den, so he was getting drunk at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Nice, a little vodka and Coke at 10 a.m. No wonder you're selling your house.
And then he talked to the father-in-law of the buyer, and he said to the father-in-law, "You want to go outside and smoke a blunt?" Nice. Getting stoned. And they're sitting out on the patio in the back getting stoned.
Speaking of in-laws, I asked you about the seller, but on the buyer side, I'm not a fan when the parents of the buyer show up, or the uncle who's a contractor, or the freaking grandfather who built a deck in 1977. Those people have all the answers. They tell you exactly how your report should look.
Oh, they're deal killers. We had one that killed the deal, right, Josh? That was another one in Connecticut. Completely killed the deal. The daughter was arguing with the father there. She loved the house. The father came, every single thing you could possibly find, he came up with.
Yeah, I remember him. I also remember him going into the attic. It wasn't like an attic, it was like a loft. And he goes up there with his was it his son or someone? I don't know. He went up there with two people. 2 people went up there. And he goes up there and he says, "Oh, this looks good and everything." Strutting his peacock feathers. And then when I go up there, I come down, I said, "Oh yeah, there's mold up there." I guess it wasn't okay.
Sorry, you missed that. you know, they always say it's always a daughter buying too. I hate to say it, but when I buy houses, I don't tell my father till after the closing. Like, this is none of your business. I'm a grown man. You raised me. I do a good job anyway. But my sister, you know, my father's gonna show up there with his friggin' flashlight, and nothing is good enough, right? So we're not buying perfect houses here. Every house has something wrong with it. You know, just because you got a dented baseboard doesn't mean you shouldn't buy the house. And these guys show up, got all the fucking answers. Oh, it kills me. And I look at the poor home inspector who's on his 2000th house, and here comes dad who bought one in 87 and is like, I know everything about this process, and here's this guy. He must have to see
But some of them are good. Some of them, you know, they just stand in the background and they're just curious about the house. They want to see what's going on. I mean, I had a wonderful father. Just the other day we were doing a condo, and he was a good guy. I mean, he really enjoyed the inspection. He was, oh, you're very thorough. And I said, yeah, I'll pay you later, but you know, thank you.
Oh, that was mine too.
Oh yeah,
It was.
with Erica. Yeah.
Can you tell I use Josh a lot on my inspection?
I guess you guys know each other apparently.
Yeah.
We're doing a lot of business.
little.
It's good to see you doing a lot of inspections. I love it.
Yeah, no, he was great too, because he's the guy was a plumber by trade, and he was very grateful for Josh, and he was very impressed with how thorough he was.
Thank you.
I had one home inspector pull up. He was flipping every circuit, which is a new one.
What?
And he flipped every circuit, and yeah, this was in Johnston on Freedom Court, and I'd love to throw the guy out there because I had a big. He flipped all the circuits, and the garage door. Once he was done, the garage door wouldn't go up and down anymore. So maybe it was I don't know. Maybe the thing was on its way out, but it's not your job to test it. And he's flipping and flipping and because they weren't labeled. He thought it was his job to label them. He had the buyer yelling.
The inspector?
Swear to God. Yeah. So finally, I have to call my client and say, listen, dude, your garage door is not opening or closing. And my guy came home like in a rage. Like, you're not supposed to touch it. And the guy, I'm supposed to touch it. Oh, yeah.
God. Now, was this because of that new law with not being able to have, like, was this an actual electrician, or is this the inspector?
No, some home inspector. And it was, you know, obviously I represented the seller in this case. I don't know where they found this guy, but he was way out of bounds. And when you can't damage the people's stuff, like guy leaves with a garage door that works, he should come home with a garage door that works, you know. This is not a lot to ask. And that buyer ended up closing, believe it or not. But what do you how do you do as far as time? What do you tell people? How long should a home inspection take generally?
Well, we usually book 2.5 to 3 hours because I don't want to rush. I don't, because I'll miss stuff. I'm the kind of inspector that I will test every outlet that I can get to. I will test every window. Now, the standards of practice in Rhode Island says you have to test the representative number. So if there's 4 outlets in the room, I only have to test 1.
Right.
But I don't, because those 2 that I don't test could be bad, and I'm not going to move obviously I'm not going to move the king size bed to get to 1. And I'll let the buyers know that up front. I'll test everything that I can. So a 2.5 hour on a ranch, 2.5 hours. And I just did one. How big was that house? 5,000 square feet yesterday. Took me
oh my God, your wife
hours.
really does have you at gunpoint giving her.
Yes, she does.
My goodness gracious, I was only joking.
She's over there working.
Behind the curtain.
She's over there working.
Yes, she is.
Working. Bullshit.
She's answering the phone.
Lord. So yeah, 2.5 hours. Yeah, anything shorter than that, I feel like the client got cheated. Although some guys will go way too long, and it wears everybody down. There's one guy in Rhode Island. He's a retiree, so he's not in a rush, and this is like his social time. And I feel bad because I like the guy, but like when you're over 4 hours on a Johnston Raised Ranch, it's like, what are we doing, man? Like there's no components hiding in Raised Ranch in Johnston, you know? Like everything's here. There's no in 4 hours. I had to kind of take him off my list. I felt bad, but people were complaining. Listing agents were complaining, like, oh, don't go to him, you know. So
yeah,
I want to hear Josh's like craziest stories that he's come across in his inspections.
Well, I told you the gun story. That was weird.
Hmm.
I'll tell you about so this poor gentleman I had as a client, he was on his third inspection with me. He couldn't find the house that didn't have a slew of problems. And he was looking at 3 families. So we went to this 3 family, and the seller realtor was stating all the work that she had done to the house to get it ready. And she said, well, we had the sewer line cleaned out from the house to the street. Okay, great. So we ended up in the basement towards the end of the inspection, and there was no laundry there. It was just the drain stack. And the wife said, oh, I have to go to the bathroom. So she goes up to the first floor bathroom, and she flushes the toilet, and out comes all the water from the toilet
Oh
through
my
the
God.
drain, the washing machine drain stack. So he screams up to the wife, don't flush the toilet. So she flushes it again, and
Oh
more
my
stuff
God.
comes out.
Oh my
So we're
God.
looking at a puddle of toilet water, and you know what's in that, all
Oh,
over the floor. And the poor realtor, the seller realtor, she's mortified because she said, I just had it cleaned out. Well, something's going on, and here's
oh my
evidence of
God.
it.
Oh my, did he end up buying that house?
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah. Yeah. Because after 3 inspections with me, he was like, kind of, I can't pay this guy anymore.
Oh my God. I'm just gonna
I'm
settle.
going to settle.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
Yeah. And the
Anything
poor
else?
guy, if you do a repeat inspection with me, we give you a discount. And I said to him, I'm going to be owing you money if you keep doing this. So
Oh,
let's stop right here.
oh.
So that was
haven't
the
you seen
fun
it where,
one.
Josh, haven't you seen it where they'll have the first inspection and maybe get nervous when they shouldn't walk away from the house? And then you see them at the second inspection and the house is in worse shape than the last one. Like, do you feel like that happens sometimes?
I've seen that happen. Yeah. I look at the second house and I'm like, why? The first one was good. Yeah, it had some problems, like every house does. But this one is like kind of, maybe they panicked on the first one, and then the second one, they just, like Holly said, they settled on it. And
Yeah, they end up in a
I kind of feel bad for them.
Mm.
But
Mhm.
Yeah.
most of the time, the second house is better.
Oh, that's encouraging.
Yeah, I've seen that. This house was better than the last one.
I think they kind of learn from you too, some of the things to watch out for, because I find that a home inspection is very educational. I always encourage my buyers to walk around with you or at least close by you so that you can kind of point things out to them as you come across it. And a lot of the stuff is just like, hey, this is normal. Hey, just so you know, in the future you should do this, and this is preventative maintenance on these things. And but so many first-time home buyers, they don't
They
know
don't.
because they've never been faced with it. So for them to see stuff, they've got a different set of eyes when they're going through another house after having a really terrible home inspection.
Yeah, on a first-time home buyer, I do have a tendency to go a little slower with them, show them where the main shutoff is for the water. Do you know how to reset a circuit breaker if it trips? And if they say no, then I'll pick one that's usually like the basement. I'll turn it off and turn it on again, even though we're not supposed to, but they need to know that. Like, you should change your air filter. If you got pets, every 3 months, otherwise every 6, along those lines.
Oh my God, how many air filters do you come across that have like never been changed?
The one we did the other day together, that was
Uh-huh.
gross. Used to
It
be
was so,
white, now it's gray. Not supposed to be.
yeah,
And
no.
it's like
best
regular maintenance. People don't know, but when I first got my license, the first thing I did, or the first thing that was done for me, is my father took me around my house, his house rather, and like showed me how the damn house worked. Like,
That's good.
like the amount of my wife, for example, she's been living in this house with me. She has no idea how it works. Like, she knows when she pushes this, like this happens, and she knows if she turns this, the water comes up, but she has no idea where it comes from, or like what she can come to this basement and see the heating system, have no idea what anything does over there. So it's important when you're a home when you get a home inspector that can educate a little bit. First of all, as a realtor, to save me calls in the future when they're like, the kitchen doesn't work. Well, did you plug 8 things into the same thing? Because you might have to click that little red box.
Yeah.
Sweetheart.
Yeah. Or how about this? The heat's not turning on. Well, did you turn off that switch that's on your basement stairs that's red that says like, burner, don't
Gas.
touch?
Yeah. We used to have a house where the laundry basket used to hit it. Like in the natural way of that you would carry laundry, the plug was too low. So if you carried it and you hit it the wrong way, if you weren't paying attention, you would turn the boiler right off. It was tragic.
Oh,
Do that.
jeez.
So the toilet water was pretty bad, right? What else you got? You ever have one where like with like infestation of like bugs, like termites or anything like that, where you were in the basement and your poker went right through?
Yes, I usually see the aftermath of the damage, but I was doing one house and the basement was wide open. It was unfinished completely. And I saw the mud tubes and I poked the mud tube and there were those little termites, those white looking pieces of rice moving up and down. And I tapped the board, the main support. Sure enough, my screwdriver went in about 1.5 inches.
Oof.
And I was like,
Oh,
So, when that happens, I start banging all along and then you see the dust fall out, what they call the frass and the sawdust. Yeah, that wasn't good. Then we had another house. It had a finished basement. But when we were upstairs in the living room, the floor felt soft. And we thought it was because they had a floating floor. So you know how you put that little insulated foam, it's very thick, about 1/4 inch. Then you lay the laminate on top of it. So it does give a spongy feel. But when we went into the basement, it was finished and I'm popping open the ceiling tiles and all the floor joists along the rim joists were rotted with termites. And I'm saying that's why the floor was spongy.
Oh, that's
Oh,
awful.
that's bad.
Yeah, I
That is
didn't
the
really
downside.
like that inspection.
You can't really see.
I didn't like that inspection because the buyer was saying to the his agent, does this inspector have insurance in case I need to make a claim? It's like, yeah.
A claim, what?
In case I missed something.
He's already ready to sue.
Oh
He's
my
ready to
God.
sue. So when I talked to the buyer agent on another inspection, he said, yeah, I dropped it quick. I didn't want anything to do with him anymore. He was just like a sue happy guy.
Oh my God. That drives me crazy.
Yes.
We're gonna start the process looking for a lawsuit. Yeah, that's not gonna end well for anybody.
No.
Oh,
My
that's
goodness.
how some people are though. It's crazy. But that's
They
why
are.
like all those you hear the big thing you're hearing now is when people waived inspections because everybody was trying to get their offers accepted, 2020 to 2023, like, oh, we're just going to waive inspections. We're going to get in there. We're going to get this offer. And then they're coming back. I had one client this year that waived inspections. He's a licensed electrician. And it was a very simple house. It looked like it was in really decent shape. And it was like, are you sure you want to waive inspections? He's like, yeah, no problem. Like I'm fine. And then I bought him, I forgot, was it like $700 I bought him a home warranty because I was like, if you're waiving inspections, I don't feel safe with you waiving inspections. I'm getting you a home warranty.
You're buying home warranties for clients?
I bought him a home warranty because I was nervous about him waiving inspections. Sure enough, after he closes, I guess he was up in the attic and found like mold or mildew in the attic. And he's like, I'll never be in, and that's not covered by the home warranty. But I was worried about the air conditioning, like the heating system, because that was like over 20 years old and it had been freezing up when we went there and they serviced it and they got it okay. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to just get him this warranty, but they found mold in the attic and he had to have it remediated. And I think it was like, I don't know, a couple $1,000, but he didn't have an inspection and I can't tell them, no, you're not having an inspection, but I try to emphasize to them how important it is to have somebody go in there. I have one now that someone's buying. It's a huge house and he's got a contractor coming. Instead, it's him and a contractor to do the inspection of the house.
Oh, hell no. I'm not letting you do it if it's my listing. You're just not doing it. Hell no. You're either bringing a licensed inspector or you ain't coming back. Yeah, these people are
Because
crazy.
and that brings up a legal question. Even though the contractor isn't a licensed inspection, does that still hold up in court? Do you know what I mean?
You mean in court for what? Like if
Well, let's say there's something wrong with the house and this contractor didn't find it, or the contractor found it, but he's not a licensed home inspector. Is that still, you know, does that hold any weight?
yeah, well, I mean, if you mean if the buyer's suing his friend or if the
Yeah, the
buyer
buyer has his friend who's a contractor and he finds, let's say, termite damage.
Mhm.
And no, let's do something that a home inspector is licensed to do. He
Mhm.
finds that the cast iron septic system, the piping is rotted. Well, you're a contractor. That's not your area of expertise. As a selling agent, I don't have to repair that, even though you asked for it, because your guy's not licensed as a home
Well,
inspector. Does
I
that
don't
have
think so.
any?
No, I don't think so, because if I go into a house and even if I can write my offer and say that when I was looking at the house, I noticed that there was a cracked stair or there's a rusted pipe or whatever example you want. I don't need an inspection to ask for a repair.
That's true.
Okay.
That's
So as
true.
long as I'm in the inspection period, I can come back and meet the appraiser there or something like that and see, oh shit, I didn't realize that window was broken when at the open house. Can you repair that window for me? And they can do it or not. I think it carries more weight if you have a home inspector with a proper inspection report with a photograph than if it's
Yep.
Uncle Bob, with a yellow notebook. I think that makes a
Yeah.
difference in your presentation, but you can ask for a repair with or without a home inspector.
Yeah, I mean, the major systems we're having, like the septic and the wall, we're having tested by actual inspectors and stuff. But I think to their point though is that they're not planning on asking for anything. It's just more of a, am I comfortable with this? And they've owned many houses, like they're older, they've owned houses and stuff like that. But I was like, I am very anxious when it comes to somebody that's waiving inspections that's not an investor. If you're an investor, I get it because that's what you do. You get the deal
Even if you're in the
and stuff.
trades, but how many times you see like a young couple in their like late 20s and they're trying to get the house so bad and they only want it because it has granite and stainless steel, so they really don't understand anything else about the house and they want to waive the inspection, and you're like, you two have no idea what you're getting into. Like you need a professional in here, and sometimes they don't want to hear it.
Yeah, that's when I
Frustrating.
start getting that in writing though. I recommend that you have a home inspection.
Not my
Yeah.
fault. You're a dumbass.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, some people are super experienced. Like if they have that experience, like I said, one was an electrician. I was like, I wasn't so worried about that, but then even then, there was mold in the attic. So
Right.
it's very nerve-wracking. And I want to make sure everybody's safe.
Do you have them, Holly,
Places,
do you have them sign something saying that they're
That I
waiving the
recommended a home
inspection?
inspection.
Yeah, something to cover your assets, so to speak.
I will usually have it in like at least a text or something. TJ, do we actually have forms now that say
we
That
have
Home
a
Smart,
form.
yeah.
I mean, usually my cover my ass is going to be in a text or an email, because
Yeah.
once we get our offer accepted, I send kind of a boilerplate email that says, here, up next is the inspection. Here are some people I recommend. You can use anybody you want. I highly recommend a home inspection. Now, if it's an investor, they don't get that same email because they're not going to read it anyway, half of these guys. But my regular clients always get the same email. So I know that I'm not picking and choosing. And I know that no one can ever say, you steered me towards this one inspector who's your guy, who gives you a kickback and will overlook any defects. Like that's happened in our business, where people get, they build such a relationship with a home inspector that, yeah, it comes with $100 kickback. And, if I see anything, I may or may not identify it. Like I've seen that happen before. And I don't want my ethics. I'm too young for my ethics to get questioned. When I'm like 60, I mean, I'm taking kickbacks, bribes, whatever it is. right now, I'm too young right now to be anything but ethical.
TJ is shady.
I'm too
When I'm
cheap
on my
to give you
last leg,
something.
but I don't need referrals anymore. Forget it.
I'll
Forget it.
give you a box of chocolates. That's about it.
Yeah, Josh gives all the clients chocolate.
Do you?
And some,
Yeah, Mercy
yeah.
chocolates. I got one here.
I got to work for you guys. This guy's giving chocolates. You're buying home warranties. My clients don't get shit. Oh, that's in the box.
They get your
Well, yeah.
experience.
Yeah, that's my experience.
He doesn't give us the chocolates. He gives them to the clients. But the
Wow.
clients love it.
Well,
You got to reach a certain point.
No, I'm not saying I want the chocolates. I'm saying I just want to clarify because I have Josh do a lot of my inspections. I don't want people to think that it's because he gives me chocolates.
He's driving you. Oh, he's on the
Or any
list
kind of
because of
kickback.
chocolate.
Wow,
No,
Holly's cheap. She can be bought for a box of chocolates.
Yeah, no. I use, you know what it is, like when I do I pretty much mainly call Josh and Michelle to do the inspections. But I do tell my clients, I said I have a great inspector. I'm like, you're welcome to use anybody that you want, but I tend to call them. Now I'm like, I don't want people to think that I'm like, exclusively or getting any kickbacks or anything, but they do a good job and I enjoy
You
working
get
with
kicked
them.
back a box of chocolates. If that's all it takes, Holly, I think that's a different issue.
No, I don't do kickbacks. I don't.
Do you know,
Go ahead.
I know you're gonna ask him for a story because you love hearing these people's wild stories. What do you got? Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to see if you have any other last stories because we are pushing our time over here. So I want to see, do you have any other last?
Well, I love it when
stories?
the homeowner is very organized and you go up into the attic and you see on the roof rafters Christmas written in Sharpie on the roof, on the wood, Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving. So they have all their holiday decorations organized that go from the middle of the roof all the way down to the soffit area. And they're in these nice totes. And it's a ranch, and it goes from one end of the house to the other. It's just like totes, 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 totes. Well,
That's a
because
good
there's no
idea.
airflow, every rafter is mold, 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 mold.
Oh, no
Oh,
shit.
no.
It's like, oh my God, he thinks he's doing such a good thing and he's killing himself because he's got all this black mold in his attic.
Oh my
No.
God.
But I
I
gotta
was
give
all
him props for
impressed.
being organized.
I know.
I was
At
all
first, I was like,
impressed.
"He really likes this," and I'm like, "Well, maybe he can't see everything he needs." No, I didn't realize you're just shutting down the air.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what else?
Oh,
You know what I wish people would do? How hard is it to take that same Sharpie and write the date when you installed your boiler, your oil tank? Like, how hard is it to write a frigging date on some of these things that are in the house so that we don't have to guess or like play the unknown game? That bothers me so much. I have a date on everything in this house. Everything.
Well,
walk by, it's too old.
I did an inspection yesterday and it had 2 water heaters. And on the one on the right had the date. It was installed September 20th, 2020. And the buyer next to me said, well, they didn't write the date on the one on the left. And I said, well, that's because there's a dead mouse on top of it. There was the poor little mouse was in the mouse trap. So I guess he got snapped on top of the water heater. And she's like, ah. That wasn't, yeah, there was like 6 dead mice in that house.
I found 3 dead mice in my attic last week.
Don't you have a
That's
cat?
Yeah, I can't. I can't.
Yeah,
win with
but
this.
I try not to get my cat to go up in the, I have no mice in my house, but I went up in the attic and they were just in the snap traps because we do preventative stuff. And I guess they must have got in and they all, I had a pest control contract, but it went up to $700 a year. So I said, screw that. I'm going to deal with it myself. And then I just haven't had the time. I went up there to switch out my fall decorations and I had 2 dead mice. Then my cat ran up in the attic and I couldn't reach the other mouse. My cat is over there eating the dead mouse off the trap. I'm like, oh.
That's how we're gonna end it. But you're one of the people that I'm talking about with all your decorations in the attic.
Yeah, but they're not in the rafters. I was like, oh, that's a good idea. But yeah, I don't have any room in my house. I need a garage. I need a space. But I won't put them in the rafters. They're in the middle of the attic and I can't move up there. But
Josh, we're up against the clock. It was really nice to meet you. I'm going to add you on my list and take away that guy that lasts 4 hours. So hopefully we can meet in person soon. Holly, where do the people find us?
They can find us on YouTube and Spotify and Amazon Music and everywhere you can find podcasts. We are also on Facebook and TikTok and Instagram. And if they want to come on the show, if you want to come on the show or you want to share your stories, I mean, even if you write in, tell us some fun stories. We'll read them on the podcast. We are at the legit real estate podcast at gmail.com. That's it.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, TJ. Thank you,
Thank
Holly.
you, Josh.
Have a good day, everybody.
Have a great day.
Thank you, you
Thanks.
too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.